Welcome to English 7 Daily Podcast, the place where you improve your English every single day simply by listening.
Hello, I'm Alex, and I'm a mechanic. My world is one of grease, gears, and the quiet satisfaction of solving problems. My garage isn't just a workshop, it's a place where problems come to be fixed and where trust is built, one bolt at a time. Let me walk you through a day in my shop. The day begins not with a crowd, but with a key in a heavy lock and the rolling thunder of the main bay door lifting on its tracks. As it rises, the first slice of pale morning light cuts across the oil-stained concrete floor, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. That first deep breath is always the same, the cool, sharp scent of penetrating oil, the rich aroma of aged rubber, and the clean, astringent smell of citrus-based solvent from yesterday's final cleanup. This is the scent of my cathedral. My first patient is already here, a compact hatchback waiting silently in the first bay. A yellow note tucked under the wiper reads, "Stalling at stoplights." Before I reach for a single tool, I begin my silent consultation. I settle into the driver's seat, the upholstery cool, and insert the key. I don't just start it, I initiate a conversation. I turn the ignition and let the engine idle, my hands resting lightly on the steering wheel, feeling for a tremor my eyes can't see. My head is tilted, listening past the obvious sound, hunting for the faint hiccup in its rhythm. Then I connect the diagnostic scanner. It's my translator. As it boots up, I imagine the car's computer finally able to speak. The codes that flash on the screen, P031, P0171, are not just numbers, they are symptoms in a language I've spent years learning. Cylinder 1 is misfiring, the engine is running too lean. This quiet, focused listening, this translation of complaint into cause, is the most sacred part of my craft. The car has told me where it hurts. Now I can begin the work of healing. With a hypothesis from the computer, a likely misfire in cylinder 1, the abstract becomes physical. I press the button on the wall, and the twin arms of the hydraulic lift whisper as they slide under the car's chassis. With a smooth, powerful hum, the vehicle is elevated, transforming from a daily driver into a suspended sculpture of mechanics. From this new vantage point beneath it, the world is a labyrinth of lines and components. I click on my headlamp, and its focused beam becomes my sun, cutting through the perpetual twilight of the undercarriage. Now, the search begins. It's a methodical process of elimination, a tactile investigation. My gloved hands move with deliberate familiarity. I remove the engine cover, its plastic clips popping softly. I trace the wiring loom, feeling for cracks or brittleness, following the path of the spark to its source. I disconnect the ignition coil from cylinder 1, the connector releasing with a satisfying click. Using a specialized socket, I carefully extract the spark plug, its ceramic insulator coming into the light. I hold it close under my lamp. The electrode is fouled with a dry black carbon deposit, and the gap is worn too wide. The evidence is clear, but a good detective confirms. I swap this suspect plug with one from cylinder 3, clear the computer codes, and start the engine again. The scanner now shows the misfire has moved to cylinder 3. The verdict is in. The spark plug itself is the failure. There's a profound moment of clarity when the culprit is found. The vague complaint of a rough idle crystallizes into this single, small, faulty part in my palm. The anxiety of the unknown dissipates, replaced by the calm certainty of a defined task. The problem is no longer a haunting noise or a dashboard light. It is a tangible object I can remove and replace. That moment of identification, of turning a mystery into a mere malfunction, is one of the purest satisfactions of my day. The path forward is now clear. With the faulty spark plug held in my greasy palm like Exhibit A, the abstract problem is over. Now begins the restorative craft, a process governed by logic, order, and a deep respect for specification. I walk to my wall of organized bins, a library of parts, and select a new spark plug. Its packaging is crisp, and the part itself gleams under the workshop lights, a small, perfect promise of renewed function. The repair is a ceremony of precision. First, I clean the threading and the cylinder head with a specialized tool, removing any microscopic debris that could affect the seal. I apply a tiny, exact dab of anti-seize compound to the new plug's threads, a preventative measure for the future. Every movement is intentional. I start the plug by hand, feeling for the smooth, clean engagement of the threads, avoiding any cross-threading that brute force with a wrench could cause. Only when it is snug by hand do I reach for my torque wrench. This is the critical moment. I set it to the precise foot-pound specification listed in the manual. Not a guess, not a feel, but an engineered number. I fit the socket, apply steady pressure, and wait for the definitive click that tells me the plug is seated with perfect, calibrated tightness. Too loose and it leaks compression. Too tight and the threads can be damaged. That click is the sound of correctness. Reassembly is the reverse of disassembly, but performed with the confidence of solution. The ignition coil is pressed firmly back onto the plug until its connector clicks home with authority. The engine cover is reinstalled, each clip snapping into place with a soft final sound. I lower the car, the lift sighing as it settles the weight back onto its tires. The moment of truth is simple. I turn the key. The engine doesn't just start, it catches with a single unified revolution and settles into a smooth, steady, and silent idle. The shaky vibration is gone. That transformation from a sputtering, sickly rhythm to this harmonious purr is my immediate reward. It's the audible proof of a problem solved, a system restored to its intended harmony. I listen for a full minute, a smile touching my lips. This is why I do what I do.
Just as the rhythm of diagnosis and repair feels established, the day always delivers a curveball. The next vehicle that rolls in belongs to a concerned young driver. It makes a kind of clunk, he says, gesturing vaguely toward the front passenger side. Only when I turn left, usually at low speed. These are the puzzles I live for. Problems that don't throw a code, that a computer can't name. They are ghosts in the machine, felt and heard, but not easily seen. My first tool for this job is the road. I take the car for a short, deliberate drive, my senses hyper-focused. I navigate out of the industrial park, listening not to the radio, but to the symphony of the chassis. I make a slow left turn into a quiet parking lot. There it is, a single solid thunk, deep and metallic, resonating up through the floorboard. It's not a constant grind or squeal. It's an event, tied to a specific maneuver and load. Back in the sanctuary of the shop, I raise the car again. Now, with the wheels hanging free, I begin the physical interrogation. Armed with a sturdy pry bar and a powerful flashlight, I start my search. I grip components designed to be tight and test for movement that shouldn't be there. I check the sway bar end links, pushing and pulling. Solid. I grasp the tire at the top and bottom, rocking it to test the wheel bearing. No play. Then I move to the control arm. I wedge the pry bar between the arm and its mounting point and apply careful pressure. There it is, a slight but definite shift, a whisper of movement in the large bushing where there should be absolute stillness. Peering closer, I see the rubber of the bushing is cracked, the core separated. Under the stress of a turn, the metal sleeve inside knocks against its housing. That's the ghost. That's the clunk. The satisfaction of this find is different from reading a code. It's the triumph of experience over obscurity, of careful detective work pinning down an elusive sound to a single failing square inch of rubber and metal. The mystery is solved. Now it's just another repair.
The afternoon sun slants through the high windows of the bay, and the work shifts from battling gremlins to a familiar, steady maintenance. This is when the human side of my job comes into clearest focus. Mr. Davies, a retired teacher, eases his beloved classic wagon into the bay. It's more than a car to him. It's a rolling piece of his history. "Just the annual checkup, Alex," he says, his voice warm with trust. As I pop the hood, he leans against the workbench, telling me about a road trip he's planning to see his grandchildren. This isn't a rushed job. It's a shared stewardship. I talk him through my process as I go. "Oil level is perfect, Mr. Davies," I say, holding the dipstick to the light. "But see this brake line here, just behind the wheel?" I point with my flashlight. "It's starting to show some surface corrosion. Nothing critical today, but something to watch. We should plan to replace it before winter." I show him the slight crack in a serpentine belt, explaining how a failure would strand him. He nods, not with worry, but with understanding. He trusts me not to create problems, but to foresee them, to be the guardian of his memories on wheels. Later, a woman sits in the waiting area, nervously reviewing an estimate for a major brake job. I bring her to the bench where her car's old parts are laid out. I pick up the worn brake pad, its friction material almost gone, and the scored rotor, its surface grooved. "This is why the car was shaking when you stopped," I explain, pointing to the damage. "And this rubber brake hose is swollen. It's like a soft spot in a garden hose. It weakens the pressure." Her anxiety visibly melts as the abstract numbers on the page connect to the tangible, unsafe objects in front of her. My role here is translator, converting the complex language of calipers, rotors, and hydraulics into a story of safety, necessity, and clear choices. The trust isn't given automatically. It's built through transparency, one explained component and one kept promise at a time. Fixing the car is the craft. Earning the trust of the person who drives it is the profession. The last job of the day is a simple rhythmic service, an oil change and tire rotation for a regular commuter car. There's a comforting monotony to it, the draining oil's dark, steady stream, the crisp filter gasket seat, the cross-patterned torque of the lug nuts. I perform each step not with haste, but with the same deliberate care I gave the complex diagnostics, because every vehicle deserves it. As the last tire thumps snugly against its hub, a deep, settled quiet begins to descend upon the shop. The final hour is for restoration. I wipe down my tools with a clean rag, removing the day's grime from wrenches and sockets before they click back into their shadow-lined drawers. I coil hoses and hang diagnostic leads, returning order to the space. Finally, I take the push broom. Its bristles whisper across the concrete, gathering the day's physical story, a glitter of metal shavings, a discarded O-ring, a sprinkling of brake dust, the confetti of a hard day's work. With the floor clean, I walk to the wall and press the button. The great bay door groans as it begins its slow, final descent, sealing the workshop away from the evening world. The loud rumble fades into a profound, ear-ringing silence. The fatigue I feel is solid and real, a pleasant heaviness in my shoulders, a faint scent of oil and solvent that has become part of me. I stand in the dim light, looking at the empty lifts, the ordered tools, the spotless floor. Today, I was a listener, a detective, a craftsman, and a translator. I turned uncertainty into certainty, distress into relief. There are no fanfares for a job well done here, only the deep, quiet knowledge that things that were broken now run smoothly, and people who were worried can drive home in peace. I switch off the main lights, lock the door, and walk to my own car. The grease under my fingernails and the ache in my hands are not stains or burdens. They are the honest medals of a day spent fixing, of useful work completed.